Let's see if all right. So it says we're live. Um Let me see if I can go on YouTube to see if something's coming up.
Okay, we're live. We're live. We're live.
Yeah.
We just need to send the people over from the chat. There we
Yeah,
go.
there we go. Sending people over. I think we can see people coming. I have no idea.
I think they'll start to flood in soon enough once they start to look at this tab again, because I'm sure at this point they'll have it buried,
I
paying
have to
attention to
let them
Netflix.
know.
Or
I'll have to let them know what happened. Oh my god, we have Rebolica. I am gonna mention you, Rebolica here. Simpleton, Ambi, Wit. How are you all? I apologize. I just want to say, like, we had the whole show going. We went to Restream and it kept giving us this like disconnecting type of situation. So we tried numerous different things. We tried to do Discord and we were like, that's not gonna work. We didn't try something else. So we went to the old faithful, my very first streaming thing, which is StreamYard. Because I haven't, like, none of my branding is on this one, but I definitely wanted to see everyone. I know. I'm sorry, Justin. What's up, Crow? I just was telling everybody we tried to get it to work on that channel, but Restream was having none of it. It said, yo, chick, I've given you 28 of them in a row. I am not doing 29. So, with that said, we're on StreamYard right now. The duck's up there. You see him. I have none of my branding, but it's okay because I have you all, I have Wilson, and I have a great thing to talk about. But we're going to get to Wilson in a second. So, Wilson, I'm going to pull you off here for
take
1 second. And if I accidentally disconnect you, come back in because I'm not really good at this one. So, there we go. But with y'all said, thank you all so much for coming. A few things first and foremost. First off, thank you to all the competitors who are in the Mortal Kombat tournament and all the organizers who are part of that tournament as well. A special shout out goes to my co-organizer, Jeff Jicknack. Y'all may remember him from Shades of Purple episode 27. It was his birthday. He let the community come on. He's going to come on in the next few weeks. But I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody who was part of that. I really think it was a great community event. We got to crown the champion, Don Rico, who just showed the entire Stadia community how to do it. So just shout out to just everybody who made that the event it was. It means so much to me to just see the community come together like that. I also want to say a huge, huge shout out to everybody who was part of the Stadia Giving from the Clouds Day. I don't think I gave a special, appreciation to you all. We raised $312 for Pause for Heroes. So I just want to go down the list of names for everybody who donated to that. And that starts with, already exist. Thank you so much. Wit, thank you. You're always amazing. Primo, Maker of Chaos, Wilsonian, you're about to see him right now. ISO, Ambi, Cammy, Chariot Man, Sanchez, Rebolica, and Granite. I'm about to talk about Rebolica here in a second. Zarina, Simpleton, Rudigs, Humblebum, Mama Haze, and again, Ambi. Thank you all for donating during Giving from the Clouds. We raised $312, blew my mind, doubled the goal that I had initially set. So thank you all so much just for everybody who did that. But speaking about Giving from the Clouds, so another streamer who was participating in that is someone who's in the chat, Rebolica. And she streamed my 2022 video game of the year, Lamote. And if you remember from Shades of Purple, I believe it is episode 6, we had the Lamote developers on, Michelle and Kyle, duo who presented the game. But on top of just not only auctioning off a gift certificate to Amazon, she also auctioned off an actual Lamote that she crocheted from hand. And I am super excited and so proud to say that I actually won that Lamote, and it is right here with me. So thank you so much, Rebolica. I have the little Lamote here, and if y'all do not know, this is a red Lamote, and that means it's the master mode. So gotta kind of watch the entire game, and if it's on all platforms, so if you're in the US and you want to play it on Luna, you can go play it. If you want to play it on Switch, you can play it. Xbox, PlayStation. I've actually played it on 3 or 4 different platforms, but either way, this will always be with me. Thank you so much, Rebolica, for that. But as y'all know, show is not about me. It is about the person in the chat or in the description. I don't even know where it is anymore. I'm all like flustered. It's about that person. It's about the chat. It's about the community. We're all about the community. And this person right here is a huge part of the community. He's staying up really late past his bedtime. Y'all saw him earlier, but here he is. David Wilson, we made it happen. Like,
We're here.
We're here. So y'all did not know David Wilson and we were trying to troubleshoot. It was like the blind leading the blind, but we are here live for you all. And again, just thank you everybody. Just thank you everybody in the community for just making it just making this special and just making the last few weekends special. But David Wilson, something tells me that's your actual name.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hide who I am. I don't have a I don't have a YouTube channel or a brand. I'm just David, or Wilson, as you've all came to know me as.
Yes, Wilson. We definitely know him as Wilson. And I see Rebolica out there. I love Lamote. I don't just like Lamote. I love Lamote. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody who made their journey over here. Before we get into your story, David Wilson, because you have a story. You might be young, but you are wise. But what's up, Chariot Man? What's up, Rudix, Sanchez, Lo-Fi Monk, Ray, Crow, Rebolica, Lion? Thank you for stopping by. Simpleton, yes, it is the Red Lamote, and you know Simpleton. You don't mess with me with my Lamote. Cammy, how are you? Awesome. If y'all have not seen Cammy, just did a premiere before. She's cooked. Y'all know Cammy cooks. So if you haven't seen her videos, her live streams, her vlogs, amazing. Obi Rose, probably one of the most entertaining streamers I watch. Thank you, Obi Rose, for coming by. SPG, love the new branding, love the old acronym. Thank you again for coming by. Seeing all the love here. Windstar, my veteran. Rouster, Rouster, I think we're like 800,000 orcs to go, but we are on our way to 1 million orcs. Callie, what is up with Justin? And then I think I got everyone. Thank you, just everybody, for being here. We made it happen. We made the video happen. We're here talking to David Wilson about his journey. We would talk about his gamer tag, but he is real old school and he just went straight with his name. He may not be old, but he is old school. So David Wilson, and there's actually 2 David Wilsons in the community. That's kind of the funny part. But you are the one who we call the full name of David Wilson. And I know a couple of times you're going to be coming off stream. You already told us about you. If y'all had not known, Wilson may come off stream a couple of times, just because he can do that. But he'll be coming right back on when he does. But with that said, Wilson, I asked everybody the same question. What was your earliest gaming memory?
Oh, earliest. PlayStation 1. It was my first ever console. I had a PlayStation 1. I had 2 PlayStation 1s. I had one at my nana's house and one at home. And Tekken 2, I would say, was my first ever memory. I remember playing that on the PlayStation, and my family used to go on holiday quite a lot, especially to Rhodes, Greece. We used to love going to Rhodes, Greece. And there was a special hotel that my dad really liked, and they had a Tekken 2 arcade console in the lobby. And I have a memory of playing it on PlayStation back at home, and also going abroad and playing it over at Rhodes as well. I think it was the Avra Beach Hotel or something like that.
Oh my gosh. So what I think is really remarkable, so if y'all did not know, David Wilson is one of the younger gamers in the Stadia community of like these middle-aged type of people. He's not the youngest. I see you, certified doc, but he's down there. And what I think is unique about you playing PlayStation 1, because some people will say that. Mostly Martinez will be like, yeah, Super Nintendo was one, or N64 was like one of his first ones, right? That his grandmother got him and stuff. PlayStation 1 is like older than you. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like, so when you started playing PlayStation 2 was already out, right?
Yeah. I was begging for a PlayStation. I had a PlayStation 1 for 1 or 2 years, and then I started seeing all the adverts and actually understanding. And I remember begging for a PlayStation 2 for, it was either Christmas or my birthday, and I was begging for, I remember, I think it was months and months. It might have only been a couple of days. I was a kid. But I was begging for a PlayStation 2 as an upgrade, and I ended up getting an Xbox original instead, and I was not happy about it. I didn't know what an Xbox was. I had no clue because I was only like 5 or something like that. I was 5, 6 year old, and I was like, oh, what's this? But my dad was like, it's chipped, and I can get you all these games as long as you're good. So I ended up. It started with like 5 games, and then like a couple of weeks came by, and 20 games came in. Then a couple of weeks came by, and I got like 50 games or something. I
On
didn't
Xbox
care anymore.
One,
Xbox original, sorry, Xbox original.
the original Xbox, you had.
I upgraded from a PlayStation 1 to an
an
Xbox original. That was my upgrade.
Some would say that's not that great of an upgrade, but we're not here to talk about console war stuff. But what's kind of remarkable to me on this one is like, I don't even know if I could name like 5 games I played on the original Xbox. So since those are year 5, what were these games?
On the original Xbox, the ones that I started to get into then. Oh goodness! Obviously Halo
Of
1 and
course,
2.
Halo.
I loved the Halo games. There was Metal Arms. Did anyone in the chat play Metal Arms? It was kind of
Metal
like Ratchet.
Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, kind of like Ratchet and Clank style. But you played as this little robot, and there was a general in your ear, telling you you gotta defeat all the enemy robots, you gotta defeat the rebels and whatnot. And then you're fighting off all these robots and upgrading through the game and whatnot. And then you get to the end, and spoiler alert, the guy who's been guiding you through it is actually the big bad guy. And they were meant to lead on to do a second game, but God knows what happened. It got stuck in development or something, or didn't get enough traction. But yeah, Metal Arms was one of my favorite games on Xbox Original. I remember playing that with my brother all the time. We would play that like brothers usually play Call of Duty. Do you know what I mean? We'd go on PvP maps together, and he'd obviously always do me in because he's like 20 years older than me. So when he was gaming with me, he was just walking around. But yeah, so Metal Arms and Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. That was another favorite when I was a kid. Although I started to get nightmares at some point, and that one got took away from me, which
because of understandable. Mortal Kombat?
Sorry?
Because of Mortal Kombat?
Just I was prone to nightmares and night terrors a lot when I was a child. They never went away. I've always been prone to them. They just happen like 80% of my dreams, not good ones. And yeah, my parents blamed gaming. They blamed all these aggressive, violent games that I was playing. And the first one that went was Mortal Kombat because they saw me playing it with my brother, and they're like, oh. And when I started to get the bad dreams, that was obviously like 2 + 2 to them equaled 4. So they took away that game instantly.
Yeah. And for some people, you know, someone who's really close to me, and they know who they are, they're actually in chat right now, also has night terrors. And, you know, when I first found out about night terrors, I was like, what is a night terror? And so just so people understand who may not know what night terrors are, they're not necessarily like a nightmare is a bad dream, but a night terror is kind of like an entirely, it's kind of beyond a bad dream. Can you
It's just the way I see it. I mean, I don't really call them night terrors. I call them nightmares, but I've been corrected a million times saying, no, you've got night terrors, mate. Those are night terrors that you struggle with. But it's just an intensified bad dream, and then you wake up in the same state that you were in from the bad dream. So if you were angry and confused and upset and or whatever that you're feeling, you'll wake up feeling that, and you're filled with all this energy and rage and confusion, and you might wake up sweaty, you're like mobilized or ready to jump up and fight someone, that type of thing. You just and you also obviously you'll thrash around a lot in your sleep as well. Night terrors, I think most people who suffer with them will like either shout a lot or scream a lot, or they'll thrash around a lot. And I don't thrash around too much, but my girlfriend likes to make a list of the things that I'll say in my sleep because they're really weird, a little weird, and not in a great sense. But quite funny sometimes too. But yeah, it's just like an amplified nightmare with kind of then slightly further side effects. But I don't think it's anything too bad. Oh, that said, it's caused me to constantly be awake at times, like you Americans. So can't be that good for you either.
No, and that's what and y'all, if y'all had not known, David Wilson is actually from the land of elves, the northern part of the land of elves up there. Like, so if the scenic views of castles and dragons, yeah, that's what it is. Every single time I like watch Lord of the Rings or something, they're always speaking your language, and so if we ever bring in like I can understand you now, as I say,
Now,
and Dan,
it's took you a while.
it is good, after hearing Dandroid, who's also in the community, I was like, well, thank you, David Wilson, for speaking some form of American English for us. So, Dandroid, if you're out there, we love you. But but yeah, so Wilson, and I see out there, Rouster, 16-year-old son. I don't know, 60 Crow, Resin, and Rouster's son are probably battling it out for the youngest up there. But oh, what's up, Ron? I see you as well. I guess Amazon Ron. I see you got new branding and everything else. But so you played Xbox. You played Metal Arms, which I'm guessing is not like this type of arm. It's kind of like that type of arm. So so you played that, and were you always into Xbox, or like did you eventually get your PlayStation? Did you go get your PlayStation 2?
So my parents split up when I was 9, and then I eventually got my Xbox 360 upgrade when I was like 11 years old. Because my brother, at that point, I lived with my brother because he wasn't my father's son, so I didn't live with him priorly. He used to just come over and stay. But I lived with my brother, and he was a big gamer, and he was looking for an upgrade. I wanted an upgrade. My sister started to get into gaming, so my mum got us an Xbox 360. The upgraded versions, the ones that didn't red ring anymore, those slim lines. We got one of those for Christmas when I was 11 years old or 12 years old. And yeah, I was always Xbox 360. Basically, my dad did end up getting me a PlayStation 3 a couple of years later as well, but I didn't spend as much time around his, so I didn't play the PlayStation an awful lot either. But yeah, I was always into Xbox until, and then we got an Xbox One when they came out as well. Obviously, everyone was getting the upgrades then, and at that point I was 14, 15, 16. I was demanding, I needed it. I couldn't stay on Xbox 360 when all my friends.
An Xbox One.
All my friends were going to they were all going to Xbox One, and I couldn't stay behind on 360. It's like Stadia now. Like we've all got to go somewhere. We've all got to find something else now. Stadia's fading out. We're in a community now. We've got, that's where all our friends are. We needed to move on, and that's what it was like when I was 15. I needed the Xbox One, so I got the Xbox One. And I only played it for a year or two. Thankfully, my brother and sister, they've always been diehard gamers. They never quit. But I only played it for a year or two, and then I actually lost touch with gaming. I fell out of it. I don't think anything in particular happened. I just got more occupied with other things.
So it's interesting, right? Because like most of the time, people, when I hear them falling out of gaming, especially like my friends who are women, it's like, they start getting very serious in relationship. I don't know why women do this, right? Like they meet someone and they just change their identity. Like, come on, give me a break, Heather. If you're out there, she watches Liz, Heather, you know who you are. But for you, you were kind of in what people would say was the prime. 16, 17 years old, like you're at least for competitive gaming, that's considered kind of your prime.
Yeah, I was a pretty good gamer when I was 15, 16 as well. I used to do it pretty hard. I was doing it every single day. It's all I used to do at one point.
And so you just was it work? Was it like school? Was it just growing up? Was it just like a really severe case of like rage quitting of something?
I was always a fat kid growing up, and I mean this is a possible thing. I was always a really, really fat kid growing up. I don't know if you'll be able to convert this, any of you in chat, but I was about 19 stone, which is what we usually weigh ourselves in Britain. But couldn't tell you what that is in pounds or kilos or whatever you would like to weigh in. I was a really, really heavy kid.
So for y'all who do not know, 19 stone is 266 pounds. Yes, Rebolica. Yes, having kids, no time to game is exactly. Emma Jane said the same thing. She had a kid, no time to game, and I think it's a shame because women gamers are usually the better gamers. But we're not here to do a battle of the sexes. That's Suave's channel. Man
Plus, you'd
versus
lose.
yeah. You would. Ooh, I see what you did there. Not gonna do that today. But 266 pounds. And how tall are you, David Wilson? Because we only
I'm about 6 foot. It's about
6
6 foot. I'm just a touch under, but I don't usually tell people that. I tell them I'm 6 foot, but I'll let you all in on the secret. I'm 5'11" and 3/4.
So you're like 182 centimeters.
Yeah.
You like how I did that? Like you went to like the regular system of counting, and I did the metric system there.
I appreciate it. Touche.
You see like how the regular system. But okay, so that is a big kid, right? For especially at that age.
Yeah.
And so potentially this had something to do with you stopping gaming.
I lost all the weight in the middle of summer. I didn't do anything to do it. I got the flu really, really bad. Spent about 3 weeks on the couch, just sweating, puking, and barely moving. I'm not being able to do anything. And after about 3 weeks, I was mostly okay. It took me like another month to fully recover. But by the end of summer, I was down to about 10 stone. So basically, I'd lost half of my weight, basically. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is pretty serious.
Yeah, it was super intense.
This isn't like a regular flu. This is like Spanish influenza.
Well, it was just a regular flu, but it just hit me really, really bad. My body didn't take to it well. It was just a regular flu. They were just pumping me full of antibiotics, but nothing got rid of it. Nothing shook it for about 3 weeks. And in those 3 weeks, I couldn't keep anything down. I could barely move. I didn't have any energy. I was just sleeping, sweating, and as I say, spewing. It wasn't a great time. But do you know, honestly, looking back on it, even at the time, like after it all passed over, 2-3 months later, back when I was feeling pretty much okay again, I didn't even care. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to recommend it to anyone, but I am so thankful that that's how I got to lose my weight. Because most people, I mean, it's 9 stone to lose. That's a lot of weight to lose. And I was an unhealthy kid. And it wasn't a healthy way to lose it. I would never recommend it. But I didn't die and I lost my weight without having to do anything. I got lucky. I got really lucky.
If you ever heard of like looking at the bright side of the situation, this is it, y'all. He probably had like the deadly version of the flu that he barely fought. And he's like, oh, but I'm happy.
But look at me now. Look at me now. I'm skinny. I'm healthy. I did when I got out of game, and like I say, it could have been something to do with losing all the weight. It made being active a lot easier. I got into my health. That might have been the reason why I got out of game, because I started to get into looking after myself and making my own meals and walking my dog every day and working out every day. And then eventually when I got a little bit older, working every day. And I was always a busy bee, always constantly busy, always at the peak of my fitness for my age. And until I messed up my back a couple of years ago, that was at least. But yeah.
And we're going to talk about that here in a second. And I want to give a special shout out to another Shades of Purple alum. All y'all are in the chat. Thank you again just for all the support and coming on and for everybody telling their story. But a special shout out to the Legend 350. If y'all did not know, last week was supposed to be a huge was supposed to be a huge week for the Legend. He's been a streamer, a content creator for the last 4 to 5, 6 years, and he had just reached 500 subscribers. Unfortunately, he made the account with his school account when he was in college, and YouTube took it all away, would not let him transfer those subscribers to a new account. So he's had to start all over. Devastating. But he, Legend is a positive person, kind of like the person on chat in the show right now, David Wilson, and he's trying to get it back up. So if y'all can go show Legend some support, like content creators, what that feels like, and to just to have that taken away. So I'm doing everything I can to try to get him back up there. But thank you, Ambi, for posting it there. If y'all can go over there and just show him some love. He was a Shades of Purple alum, one of my first outside the state community. and I definitely hope to bring him back. But with that said, we're coming back to David Wilson here. He is talking to us about his story, and I think this next part is actually I know that you have a lot of mixed emotions about it, and so
I don't feel good about it. That's a fact.
Yeah, but so
one moment.
Yeah, so he's gonna come back. He's got to, told y'all Dave Wilson's gonna hop off every once in a while. But he's about to come back. But this next one I think is part of his gaming journey, is something how he came back to gaming. And so Wilson, and this has to do with like Stadia, right? This is how you found Stadia. Like tell us a little bit about what brought you back to Stadia, the events that led to that.
So it wasn't the thing that made me discover Stadia. I discovered Stadia a month or two prior to when I first messed up my back, which is what I'm about to talk about. But it was a good time to discover it because I ended up falling into it. It was a really good crutch for the past couple of years. But like as I was just telling you, I was in the peak of my life. I was peak of fitness. I was doing really great. I was saving up to move to Edinburgh to stay with my girlfriend who's currently at university there. She's a massive egghead, doing brilliant. But I was everything was going great. But then COVID came, a horrible time for everyone. And I picked up a job in the care sector because our care sector was in crisis at the time. And I was working care for a good few months. They didn't have a lot of training at the time because obviously they were trying to get as many people in as they could because they had people coming in left, right, and centre from the hospitals, people going from the care homes to the hospitals, and they just needed 1,000 more hands. So I didn't get a lot of training, but there was a lot of training on the job. There was a lot of people willing to guide me, and I really do thank them for all the guidance that I got from them because without them, I wouldn't have been any help to anyone. But I worked as a carer for about 5 months. And 5 months in, coming off the back of a double shift, my hips were feeling a little bit sore, my back wasn't feeling quite right, and I brought myself to bed. I woke up the next day and I went to stand up. I just got shooting pains right down from the base of my back, by my hips up to just up to my shoulder blades, and I felt my knees. I couldn't move for like a couple of minutes. I was just like shocked, a little bit paralyzed from the pain. I just woke up, so a little bit confused. And then I got up a couple of minutes later, and my back was just absolutely aching. It was just like I'd been stampeded on by rhinos. And I went to sit down. I got the shooting pains again as I went to sit down, fell back down onto the bed, and obviously called in sick to work, called the doctor. And the doctor just told me get bed rest. Best thing that they could do for it at the time. They weren't seeing people anyway because of COVID. So I took bed rest for 2 weeks, and then 4 weeks, and then 6 weeks. And they were like, right, we need to try and get you into some physio because it's not getting better from resting. I was like, okay. So that then took a couple more months. A million delays because of COVID and the NHS getting a massive backlog. The NHS being our healthcare system over here. It took them absolutely forever to see me. So I ended up trying my best to move around, but also staying pretty stagnant because I couldn't do an awful lot. I didn't feel great. But for a couple of extra months, got to see the physio, and the physio gave me a bunch of things to do. Said, no, I can't see anything innately wrong with you. They didn't see me at first, actually. Sorry. Again, COVID, they did a telephone consultation with me. Couldn't tell anything wrong over the phone. Said, here, I want to give you these exercises. Emailed me over a bunch of exercises that just absolutely ruined me even worse. I could barely move when I was trying to do them. I got halfway through them one day, and again shooting pains. I couldn't move. Lay there just in shock. So I had to adapt to a bit of a different way of life. Like I said, I was a workaholic. I was a healthaholic. All I wanted to do was be busy, and I ended up not being able to be busy at all. Just sat around all day in pain, frustrated, not getting the help that I needed, not being able to do anything about it, confused what's the best course of action because the NHS just couldn't help me at the time. and Stadia became the place for me to go. It became gaming as a kid. I was a bit of a gaming addict. I've got a bit of an addictive personality, so anything that I get into, I get really heavily into. And as a kid, I was really heavily into gaming. Like I said, I don't really know what pushed me out of it, but when someone introduced me to Stadia a couple months prior to my back injury, I was amazed by the tech. I was playing Destiny 2 on an iMac, which just didn't sound reasonable at all. But I was doing it, and on that big screen, wow, it was so cool. So um, back injury came along, and Stadia was the play. It was a crutch. It was the thing that I hung myself off all day long, and I was glued to the TV because I couldn't. Whenever I got up, I'd try to cook or try to take the dog out with my girlfriend or something like that. I'd get these shooting pains and fall on my knees, or I'd have that sensation of agony up all the way like through my hips down there, the lower of my back of just constant soreness and yeah, Stadia really was a lean-to. But after a while, I mean, gaming's a nerdy thing. We all know that gaming's a nerdy thing. It's a beautiful thing. We all love it, but it's nerdy, and I was embarrassed about doing it, especially because I didn't want to be inactive. Like I was inactive not out of choice, just out of circumstance. And Stadia, although it was a crutch for me, I started to get angry at it and embarrassed about it and feeling guilty because that's all I did was game and I hated it. But this was before I found the community. I only found the community February this year. I was gaming on Stadia for about it was about half a year after Stadia came out. It was about April after it came out. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 years now because I've just been sat around for that long. But I've been on Stadia for about 2 or 3 years, and I only found the community February this year. That the whole time I've just been sat trying to get help from the doctors, not getting very far here, there, or anywhere, getting referred to just chronic pain units and getting told, well, this is the pain that you've got to learn to manage now. And obviously I'm not managing it very well. But then eventually, like I said, I would feel really terrible about gaming, and I would try and I wouldn't try. I would get to there would get to points where it was all I would be able to do with my time to distract myself from my pain or distract myself from my circumstances. But even that was part of my circumstances that made me feel worse about myself because I just didn't have anyone to game with, and I just felt like a massive nerd. I felt like I was wasting my time. But then February this year came, and searching through the internet, Reddit forum, someone found a link to Discord.
Your mic's messing up, Wilson.
Oh. How long ago? How?
Just like 3 seconds ago. Gaming nerd, massive nerdy thing. But you're good.
Okay. Now. Are we good? We're okay.
You're good now. You're good now.
Did you still make out what I was saying?
Yeah, a little. We got it for the most part.
The way I stumbled into the Stadia community was I was looking for. I got sick of having no one to game with. Went looking on the internet eventually and found Anthony's the Cowboys Discord for Marvel Avengers, which was a separate one to his main server, which is pretty active. But I posted something and it didn't get a response for a couple of days. But then he saw it and said, "Hey man, you're looking for people to play with? Come jump into this Discord and follow us. We've got all sorts of people playing Stadia." And I was like, "Wait, what? There's no one playing Stadia. I'm always in the lobbies. I'm always looking for people. There's no one playing Stadia. Just waiting, and there's no one playing Stadia." And then I found his Discord and I watched a couple of his streams. And then the first one that I found as a real community stream was shout out to Jeff Janak, was his Wreckfest stream. I was pointed there by Anthony, Anthony pointed me to the old SBC, which pointed me to Jeff Janak, and I found his Wreckfest community stream. And I saw all the lads on there. You've seen them. You hear what they're like. It's rather ruthless in there and rather raunchy. Do you know what I mean? They're not very PG, but they're a very loving bunch. And I found them and I was like, I need a game with these guys. Obviously, I had Wreckfest on Stadia Pro because we all claim our pro games, and Stadia is great for the amount of games that we've got. And I went in, found Wreckfest, and I decided that the second week that I watched them, I was going to play with them. And I found the lobby, jumped in. They were like, "Look, it's that Wilson who's in the chat. Hey, Wilson." And they were all really, really kind to me. I thought Jeff was like the kindest, most innocent person in the world. This was February. I know a lot better now. But yeah, I found the community. And ever since, like there's not been a little any sort of guilt about gaming anymore. It's my favorite thing to do is waking up and come hang out with you guys and getting to see whose streams are on. And before then, I always looked at gaming and especially no offense, streaming as a nerdy thing. I was embarrassed by it, and I wouldn't bother watching things like that. I was never interested in like watching YouTube streamers, but I found the community, and that was definitely my in. Now it's all I want to do all day long is see who's streaming and see who I can play with and all that type of stuff. It's a great thing. So
and we have a question here from Jan coming from Cammy's stream. Thank you so much, Cammy, for all the support and the community. And John, thank you as well for coming. But she has a question here. Hey there, so I have a question for you. 10 out of 10, do you feel much better now? Are you still doing physical therapy? And she just says, I know because a lot of people haven't been feeling well. So your story doesn't just end with the injury, right? Like it still goes on. And do you want to kind of respond?
so I'm still not doing very well. I've still got my chronic back injury. It's been diagnosed as. I recently started seeing an osteopath who's been doing acupuncture and muscle manipulation and all these different types of things, which it's been absolutely grueling. But that was only about a month or 2 months ago that I started seeing him. That seems to be making me walk a lot better. I'm seeming to manage the day a little bit easier, and I did suffer mental health wise, as I say, quite a bit with my back because it was a swap around for my life. It really was. It was not this type of life that I'd carved out for myself. But the community helps take care of the mental health side of things. I mean, there isn't a day where I'm feeling too glum about it now that I can't spend half an hour just chatting with people or even just sat in a stream and it doesn't make me feel a lot better. But yeah, no, the back is still an ongoing thing. I'm still looking to get more help with it. The osteopath is trying his best. I might be looking to get because, like I say, a big part of my issue was, and the NHS has been overstretched for years now. It doesn't have the funding, it doesn't have the doctors, it doesn't have the resources. So I mean, it took them, I think it was a year and a half, roughly, to give me a scan. On my back because they just didn't have the money there to want to be able to do it. Like they wanted to try every other affordable option first before they were like, right, let's get an MRI machine out. So if the osteopath doesn't go well, I'm looking to go into private healthcare and trying to pursue it that way. I've got a local church who are trying to help me get better. They're sponsoring me somewhat because obviously I'm not working at the minute, so I don't have a lot of spare funds to go to this osteopath and look into private healthcare. But there's a local church who are invested in my health and they want me to get better, so I'm getting help from them. So fingers crossed. I mean, whatever the end of the journey is, hopefully it's not far away, and hopefully I'll be back to living the life that I wanted in no time. But whatever that is, now I've got gaming's got a place in my heart. I don't think I'll ever let go of it, especially not this community.
Yeah, no, I think we were talking before, and we've talked before, Wilson, in so many different chats and on party streams and so forth. And I know, and it's been mentioned here in the chat that things can change so fast, right? And I think the thing about your story about this event, and thank you for sharing, because I know you feel you were mentioning that it doesn't feel good to talk about it all the time. So thank you for sharing a little bit with us. But as you said, this, and I believe you will be living the life you wanted to live, right? I think, and if y'all did not catch that, yes, there is the event, there's the actual trauma that occurred, but it's living in is that the life you thought you were going to live? Is this the life you foresaw for yourself? And I definitely think for anybody, who's young, it's like, what? How did I get here? So thank you for sharing that. And I know that fortunately there is still some good news with this though, because you mentioned I think you called her an egghead, which I don't think she appreciates too much. But there is someone who's been by your side thick and thin through all of this. No?
Yeah. I've got a girlfriend, Georgia. She's probably watching in chat right now. I'd assume, but yeah, she's been through the whole thing with me. I've been with her for 4 years now, I believe. So a year or two before any of the issues that she might wanted to duck out on, but at that point she was tied in. So, um, but yeah, she's been helping me throughout with everything. She helps me a lot helps me manage with the dog a lot now. She always helped me with my mental health before I had the community here who constantly just bolsters it now. Helps me with everything that I'm not physically capable of doing anymore, or that I struggle to do. She really does hold me up. She's a wonderful lady.
Wonderful. No, I think that's that's a win. Like I think if you cannot tell the way he talks about his girlfriend, she's constantly comes up in when we're in party string. You're always like, she's coming into town. I remember when she came into town, you were like nowhere to be found. But Georgia, if you are out there, like I think, one time Nads, or Rudik said we're all searching for our Nads. But I think the best we can do in a partner, someone we care about, is to find our Georgia too. Someone who is there for us through thick and thin, and especially through this one that's a life altering one. So even though you may not be where you want to be physically right now, I think just having that support network is huge. Regardless of if she upsets you or not, David Wilson.
And she knows that she has at the minute. She knows that she has.
She give her a break. So if you want to tell, Wilson was a little upset. We don't have to say the actual story, but he was a little upset with her. So this is my way of trying to show that he still, very much cares about you.
I'm not going to air out our laundry. I love it way too much for that. I do.
Yeah, but no, I think that's a beautiful thing. Just having someone there with you. One thing I think, so obviously you've had this trauma during the pandemic where it's even harder, as John said. John, am I saying it right? Because I know I've heard Cammy say it, so please show me if I'm pronouncing it right. Because I'm used to saying Jan, but I don't think
John.
I know I've seen her on stream before. I feel so bad, but during the pandemic, haven't had a lot of connection to the outside world. It can be even more just getting you down. Obviously, you're going back and forth. You're getting help from different groups to help you out. You have this wonderful community that's boosting you up. And then the day that's going to live in infamy for everyone, not just because it's Jeff Janak's birthday, September 29th, but it's also the day that Stadia said they're going to close down. What was that day like for you, as someone where it's almost like, and I think George has said it's kind of like prescription for you in a way. What was that day like for you?
It was bewildering. It was confusing. I mean, I went through an array of emotions that I'm sure that we've all been through somewhat. I've been upset about it and angry about it. I mean, on the day, God, it's hard to recall because it was a couple of weeks ago now, and I've got a foggy brain. But the day itself, I remember that it was Certified Doc who got me into a party. I got a party invite out of the middle of nowhere at 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And he was hanging out with Callie Drew Voss, another content creator in our community. Shout out to Callie Drew.
Callie's out there too right now. What's up, Callie?
And I jumped into the party. I was like, "What's up, guys?" I jumped in the party and I couldn't find my headphones, but they were coming through the TV still, and they were just talking about, "Oh God, what we're gonna do now? Where are we all gonna hang out? Where are we gonna game together? And what's the community gonna do? I mean, all these content creators who've got their brands based around it, and all these questions." And I'm like, "What are they talking about? What?" what's going on? I was fumbling around for my headphones for a couple of minutes, and they're just talking about like all these questions and things about like the ramifications of Stadia's death, and I had no idea. They're just talking about the ramifications. I'm panicking, look at my headphones, going, "What is going on? Is the world ending?" And they're like, "Have you not seen it? Have you not been on Rock's show? Because obviously Rock was live when it all happened. He was reading through Stadia news. Someone pointed it to him, and he ended up doing a 3 hour or a 4 hour live stream, basically like a testimonial live to what happened. But I was like, no, I've not seen anything. They explained, and yeah, just took it back like everyone else's. I mean, no one expected this. No one expected this. I mean, we've got people in the community who work in places who should know about the ongoing Stadia who didn't know about this, and for a lot of people, it's inconvenient. For a lot of people, I mean, there's a lot of people out there. Let's start with these. There's a lot of people out there who, I told you so, and can't wait to get the jives out. But there's a lot of people who are a little bit inconvenienced by it. There's a lot of people who are now struggling for a platform because of it. There's a lot of people who are turned off from gaming altogether because of it, and it's tragic. I mean, it really is. People say platforms live and die. I mean, I don't really think that they do. I mean, we've had a couple game platforms that I've had, but they don't really live and die. I mean, they emerge into something else, and Stadia's just kind of stopped. And now we've got it's almost like a displaced community. The way I've likened it to in a lot of party chats that we've had going on is it's like we're a bunch of ants and our tree's been felled, and now we're all just scrambling looking for another tree. It's bewildering, I would say. It's been a lot to process. How have you felt about it all, Purple? I'd love to ask and see how you felt about it, because I know Stadia has been something that's massively important to you, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Stadia is. I mean, Stadia brought me back to. This is not about me, but I'll answer your
No, I
question
know.
because you definitely answered one of my questions, and I know you had certain feelings about it. I think y'all saw me. It was 2 weeks ago. It was just 2 weeks. It seems so long ago, but it was like 2 weeks ago, and I was on stream, and it was the weirdest day for me because I was really busy. And then someone hit me up, and I think I talked about it. That someone from actually someone from that I know who works at Microsoft hit me up, and they're like, "What are you gonna do now?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And then I saw the news, and I was like, "What?" And then of course, immediate thing, and I think I've told some people this that I do know some people who actually work on the Stadia team, and so I sent them a message, and then and normally they're really quick to respond, because and they didn't respond, and then I realized, and then I looked at the new, and then I was like, oh my gosh, like they're getting the news that they're losing their job. You know what I mean? Like, and
I'm
so I
getting a
think
little bit emotional about this. I won't lie. That whole story before, I was fine, but this is it's emotional.
no, and so it was like this weird, and then it just so happens to be the same day, like my job decides to give me like this massive project, like ambiguous, like very weird stakeholder management project, and so I didn't have time to really process it, right? And so then, and it was like probably 22. You can ask Jeff, but and shout out to Jeff. People
Mhm.
call him a troll or whatnot, but Jeff is actually very, very much a wise person to talk to. And he was like, we can't do my show right now, basically. Like he's like, we need to like, I'll do it if you want. I was like, no, we're gonna do it. I'm good. I'm good. And sure enough, like 20 seconds before I go live, it like hits me. And so you kind of see me on screen because I'm like, I don't know. And so I think it to me, and I continue to say this, if you kind of follow me, is Stadia may have brought us together. And everybody in the community, everybody in this chat, you don't have to have played Stadia, I think to get it. Like, right. If we think about Proper's place last week, he said Stadia people just get it. Like, you can't really name it, right? It's just this thing. And I don't think you have to play Stadia to be in that group. Uh, but it is a filter to understand other people who are in that group.
Mhm.
And so to me, I think I've been focusing on like what makes a community. You know, like I've really been focusing on this. As we know, Stadia, and I continue to say it like this, is on hospice. Like they are gonna put that, it's either on hospice or it's on death row. One of
End of
the
life
two.
care, very
Yeah,
much so. Yeah.
yeah, it's on one of the two. And so I'm like, it's still I still think it's kind of my favorite platform. And it's kind of weird because it's still there. I still have all the features. I can't necessarily buy new games, but all the features are there. So, but it's this weird thing. But the community, and we talked about this before. What is the community? Like, right? Is the community YouTube? No, that can't be that because there's a lot of Twitter. There's a lot of things on Discord that go on. Like in it, it's like I don't even play with some of y'all. I watch some of you all play, right? As much as every time PUBG, Cloud EV, if you're out there, you know, or Suave with
World
World War
War
Z,
Z.
or uh we've talked about it, Jeff in his Wreck Fest. They're not games I necessarily play. Sometimes I'll jump in and play, but it's not like I play with them. I'm not in just party chat all the time. What is a community? And so I think I've been like trying to like put this thing around it. And we saw part of it during the Giving from the Clouds Day. You know, shout out to Rebellica. You know, my little emote here. Like, how did this get here? Right? Like, Stadia didn't send me this. You know what I mean? So I think that's what's like been trying to figure this out. Because there's other people who are here in so many different Stadia chats. Shout out to Cammy. You know, she gets it, but she doesn't play Stadia. So what is it? And I don't know what it is. And so I think that's what I'm going to enjoy Stadia while it's here. But I realize that it's not necessarily Stadia that I think what's hitting us. And so if I can if it's not Stadia, then Stadia can die. It's this other thing, and I just have to, whatever that other thing is, I have to give to it, and it's going to continue to give back to me. I think that's how I think about it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I mean, the community, we call it the Stadia community, but we've also got other cloud users in there. We've also got people who just like to watch streams in there. We've got an array of people and places that they fit into the community, and it isn't just on Stadia. I mean, it's definitely the tree. Like I said, it's the tree that we were all crowded around. But I mean, we were all ants. We weren't part of that tree. It wasn't actually part of our identity until we decided it was. And even then, it's the relationships that we formed and all of that type of stuff, isn't it? That's what makes our community.
I think that's what we associate that with Stadia, but to me, it's still not. I still think whether you play it on your TV, your phone, as I talk about it, I'm like, I used to talk about this as like the benefits of it, and now it's like kind of like, you know. But I still think it's still there, y'all. like I continue to say it's still there. Go talk to your local Stadia. Go hang out with it. Because trust me, it's as much as you feel bad, I can guarantee you your local Stadia is feeling a lot worse right about now. So show it some love. But, I also want to ask you, because we've seen it here before, and a lot of people call you the all-purpose champ.
Mm-hmm.
The Stadia all-purpose champ, right?
Yeah.
Talk. A lot of us know what it is. Some of us have no idea. Talk to us a little bit about it.
Well, we've got a community, and we all know about the community. And in the community, there's certain pillars, like yourself, like John Scars, like Jack to Slip, many others that I wouldn't be able to name them all. I wouldn't. But there was an event in summer, which was the Summer Cloud tournament. Is that the correct name for it? The Summer Cloud Gaming Tournament?
Championships. I think it had
Summer Cloud Summer Cloud Gaming Championships. I think that's correct. I think that's the full name for it. It's got its own Twitter handle as well. So I think if you type that into Twitter, you'll be able to find a page for it. And I believe they did it the year before as well. Like I say, I only found the
They've
community
done
this
it.
year,
They've
but
done it in the winter, the summer. So shout out to Ninja Guy X was one of the first winners of it. Shout out. So yeah, you may have not known that, but Ninja Guy X was the first Cloud Summer Championship winner.
he
And
was my guru. He in right throughout. He was all of our gurus, not just mine in particular, but right throughout the final event where we were all squaring up against each other, all the finalists. He was the host in the back room, guiding us through and telling us what to do. And as the numbers whittled down, we got to chatting more and more. It got a little bit even though it got more serious. There was less people there. It somehow got less serious in the back room, and we really bonded. Before then, I hadn't chatted to Ninja an awful lot, but we
so for you all, I just know this because I did make it to the final 16. but the summer, so what it was a series of events, games where you had to score a certain, a game. So think about Hitman the game. If you scored a certain score on that, or Blastic Crata. I can still not play this game, but if you scored a certain score on this game, you eventually got a certain score. In the top 16 people throughout the championship, throughout the rounds, went to this final 16. We're in the final 16, and you can see the winners from just like the casuals. Purple is a casual in this genre. Purple is a and you start to see the separation, right? And you see David Wilson's the first one to qualify to the next round. Certified Doctor, who is in the chat right now, qualifies. A few others who are out there eventually qualify, and they go to the next round. So you go from 16 to 8, right? You're there. We played Animal Royale for that first round.
Mm-hmm. Super Animal Royale.
Super Animal Royale, Then we go and play not Wavetail, but it's called
Wave Break.
Wave Break, another game with animals, but on jet skis.
It's like a liquid take on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Yeah, I still have no idea about this game. Like, I've played it, like Stadia shows I played it for like 43 minutes. I have no recollection of playing this game for 43 minutes ever. Okay, but suppose so you go from this 8, right, goes down to 4, right, and now we're down to the serious people, and y'all are playing Trials Rising. Is that the one?
Trials Rising.
So, and actually a pretty much more difficult game than like your normal like BMX, like dirt biking type of game.
There's a lot of skill involved in some of the later levels, which had no right in being on there with the bike that we were using, but we were using some of the later levels, and it wasn't easy at that point. It really wasn't. The other ones, it was just see if you can get through. Whereas at the trials point, it wasn't just like kind of get like rolling the dice, because it was kind of rolling the dice with Wave Break and Super Animal Royale, but trials, it was you had to be able to get that skill there instantly. You really did have to be able to use your joystick well enough to move that bike around. Otherwise, there were some levels you just weren't going to pass. You weren't going to get the points.
Yeah. So, but you won, right? In your kind of your, I don't want to say your sensei, but your battle buddy in crime, Certified Doc, is out of the tournament, going for it, right? Certified Doc was kind of, if y'all did not know, is one of the premier gamers on Stadia. He's in chat. What's up, Certified? He goes out of the tournament, right? And now it's just you. And
can I bonify someone as a champ from like one Stadia champ to another? Because he's definitely he is a champion of Stadia. Certified Doctor. He's a bona fide champion.
Of course he is.
Mm-hmm.
No, Certified Doctor. There's a couple of them, and I'm gonna shout them out again. The Italian Mortal Kombat champion Don Rico is a champ. Don Rico, for sure, a Mortal Kombat champion there. But you get into the finals, and for a lot of people, they don't know this, or some people do. I talk about it quite often. My favorite platform is chess, but actually, I was an athlete growing up. I was a tennis player growing up. Not like any other player. Like, I was actually sponsored by Adidas at one time, like an actual tennis player. So, and one of the unique things in a tournament is like you kind of described the same feeling, is that in the beginning of the tournament, there's all this chatter, there's all this commotion, there's all these things going on.
Mhm.
But the unique thing about that is, like, once you start getting down to like the semifinals, and if you make it to the finals, the locker room is quiet. It is serious. Like, all you have is yourself and the other person across that locker room. And I could hear, like, how you talked about it's quiet. All you have is the ninja guy is bringing you, saying you need to go here and here, and now you're in the finals. You're in the final two. Against a really good player, by the way. He had some
Impressive.
of the highest scores throughout the rounds. I think he finished third or second as an average. You know, y'all go in, you play a demo of a game, right? So the game was first released just as a demo. They had the devs there. And I think one of the greatest displays of sportsmanship I've ever seen, right? Because you had already demoed the game. You're a tester for that game. Your opponent had never touched the game. And to me, one of the greatest things is you then show him how to play. You take the time, like, you destroy him the first round. The second round, you take the time to kind of give him some hints, to give him some pointers. And he's a solid enough gamer that he takes it and runs with it.
Pick them up instantly. Pick them up instantly.
Instantly, right? And now he's making a comeback, right? Like a legit comeback. Yet you still maintained your cool. You said, you know my tricks. And you end up coming out on top. And what is going to probably be the last Stadia, our last cloud gaming championships. How does that, like, make you feel, realizing that Stadia will not be here pretty soon, and you will probably be the last one that there is? What does that feel like? Do you feel that that's something special? What does it feel like to have won that? To, like, knowing what you know now, is it any different knowing that it's potentially the last one than when you won it? Like, what does that mean?
The moment of winning it, winning the tournament and winning the championship and winning the 500 big ones.
Yes,
that was amazing.
He won $500 cash. By the way, the winner of the champion won 500. Shout out to the sponsors, because there's multiple of them. Won $500 cash for getting first place in that. But go ahead. Yeah.
Where was I at?
How did it make you feel?
Yeah. When I won, I was ecstatic. It was so cool, is what it was. It was needed at the time. The 500 cash was really, really handy. I didn't just get splashed on a new gaming system or anything like that. I had bills to pay, and that 500 went straight into a bunch of pots that made me feel a lot better. But yeah, it was great. It was so cool. It was so cool to be part of such an event, and to meet so many people, and to get to hang out and actually compete in something. But and there was definitely a sense of pride there for a couple of weeks, a little bit like macho man. I'm the all-purpose champ. Oh man. Waiting for Anthony to do a video about me. Still waiting, because I've stole his title. He has no rights to it on Stadia anymore. That's my title, the all-purpose champ. Look at me, I'm getting big man about it again.
I know, you're right. Like, whatever sadness you had earlier, you have come. This is the champion of the cloud community right here, talking to us.
But yeah, it lasted for a couple of weeks, and then it's just been nice to look back on since. But sat here talking with you about it and really realizing, and over the past week or two as well, with Stadia dying, people have made a couple of comments to me, and it's made me think about it. And you know what? It really is like, it's a badge of honor. It really is. Like, I was proud when I won before, but now there's a sense of pride behind the win. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really feels like it's worth. Like, I'll be able to say that I'm the final Stadia champion. That's a really, really cool thing, but it's also like a really sad thing. It almost gives me I don't know what for or what to, but it makes me feel like I've got a sense of responsibility. Do you know what I mean? It's like something to live up to. I've got to maintain that standard.
Oh my god, you already set this. I think you already set the standard. I think that's the thing, and the thing about it, Ninja Guy, who was one of the organizers, would say that every single champion got better and better and better, right? Because there's been winter champions, summer champions, and I think if that's the last one, which we know, unless something happens, in the next few months, you will be the last one. I think it's an amazing way to go out. I couldn't think of a better person to be the Stadia champion for that. And so
Oh, I could think of a million. I could think of a million, but I still really appreciate the sentiment.
Come on, Wilson. There's only like 10 stadiums, so I can't think of that. If there was a million stadiums, we would still have Stadia. Let's not be real. There's not a million. Unfortunately, too soon.
A little bit.
Oh my gosh. But I say it. I have it. It's still here. I have one of my controllers right here. But no,
I'm still playing it every single day. Every single day. It's all I've got to play. It's all I'm going to play for the next few months.
Yeah. Of course, I would say play it. It's free games if you bought a game right now. So just
exactly
playing. So one thing I do want to ask you, and we talked about it. I think it's an elephant in the room with anybody who plays Stadia still, who hasn't found where their new school is, right, or where their new home is. Where's your new home going to be?
That's really going to be the question that makes me ball up tonight, Purple. Don't ask me that. I don't know. You're gonna make me cry myself to sleep thinking about that. All I've done is racked my brain about that for the past 2 weeks, and God, it is stressing me to the hilt. It really is. At first, I jumped onto Stadia because it just sounded so cool, and at the time I only had an iMac. I wasn't trying to get invested into gaming, but obviously, as now all know my story, it's now very central to my life, and gaming is now very central to my life. But also, because of my predicament, I'm on a budget, and I don't have 500. I don't have another 500 big ones from another championship to throw at a console or whatever. So I don't know. I'm looking for the next best option. But I mean, Stadia was such a low bar of entry. It was such a low step, and I don't mean low in a scummy sense. Just low as in so easy for people to access. It was £10 a month, and you could collect games and keep collecting games, and then maybe chuck an extra £20 one month and get a game that you really wanted or whatever, or a handful of games that are on a Stadia Pro sale, because the Stadia Pro sales used to be amazing. But even when I get the Stadia stimulus, I mean, I've said this to a few people, like, yes, I'm going to get however many hundreds of pounds. We all are, and that's great. But like when I won the championship 500 big ones, I mean, I'm not going to have 500 quid spare to just throw at a console. Like that, I'll want to throw that at bills. I'll need to throw that at bills, and I might have 50 quid or 100 quid I want to spare out of it. Do you know what I mean? That'll decide. You're worth it, David. You get that for yourself. But I've got responsibilities, and I can't just go buying another platform that no others are as easy to enter. And now my old iMac that I used to game on died. Through all the amazing giveaways of Stadia, I'm now on a Google TV, and that's kind of what I'm locked into game on. So I don't have a lot of other options in front of me really easily at the minute. So it's just nothing compares to Stadia for how easy it was to get into, for that low barrier of entry. But I'm not going to fall out of gaming because of it. I've cheated on. I've thought that a couple of times over the past couple of weeks, but the community's brought me back and slapped some sense into me and said, "No, you can't do that, David. Come on, you're going to keep gaming."
You're a part of it. Well, I asked the question not to make you feel bad, right?
No, of course not.
I think the positivity. I like I said, positivity, and the community is a community, and you've given quite a bit to it, and so I do think, I don't know for sure, but I do think just positive Positivity always breeds more positivity, and I can almost without certain. Uh, I think I've told you this before. Uh, you don't need to worry about it. You're a positive person. You're a good person, and so yeah, I just have a feeling. Now I had a feeling that Stadia was going to be here for a while. One maker of chaos won $200 off of me because I had that feeling, but and Ace. But I actually do have a good feeling about this. So I think you're a positive person, Wilson. I'm more than blessed to have you on this channel to just get to know you in so many different ways and for you to share your story with us today. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me on here, by the way. I mean, I'm not going to say a million again because you will correct me. There's not a million of the Stadia content creators
there's
over.
8, 9, depends.
But there's like 8, 9 other people that you could have on here right now, Purple, who'd love to promote their content and who are other brilliant personalities in the community. And I am not a content creator. I'm just some silly kid who's getting his rocks off, playing some games with people, and hanging out with some friends. That's all I am. So I really appreciate you carving out this time just for silly old me to hang out and chat. And
you're part of the That's what this show's about. It's about the community. Obviously, some people are content creators, some people are game creators, Next few weeks, we may have a new person game creator. So watch out. But I'm not going to spoil anything. So just be on the lookout for that. And some people are just great community people, right? And that's what I think Shades of Purple is. They're all different shades of purple, right? And so
well done for that. Well done.
I've been planning that for months and months.
I'm sure.
But but with that said, I would say, where can people find you? But
on Stadia?
You'll be on Stadia for the next little bit. He's gonna be by Stadia's bedside. You definitely can watch. I know you're always on Jeff's streams, doing community streams. Anytime you see anybody like Vet Cloud Gaming, Callie, Certified Doc, Ray, any of
SPG, Jeff, Lo-Fi Monk is wanting me to start featuring a few of his Cloudy Thoughts morning shows, so you might start seeing me on your mornings a few times here and there. We don't know. It might happen. But yeah, you'll find me in all the streams. I love this community. You don't have to look for me. You'll just see me in the chat somewhere and say hi. Just say hi, because you know what I'm like. I'm friendly enough, and I just want to game with you all. So yeah, add me up on Stadia. I'm Wilsonian. I think it's like #97 something or other. But I'll be the only Wilsonian there. So go for that. On Twitter, I am David Dean Wilson. The D between David and Dean are shared. And it's the only place I'm really active. But like I say, you'll see me in all the chats. I am everywhere. I'm constantly in everyone's. I don't sleep. All I do is watch this Stadia community, and when I get tired, I plug myself into the wall and put in another video.
No, definitely. In John, John. Oh my God, it's not John. It's Jan. Jen. I know I've heard it before. I'll be seeing her. She'll be in Cammy's stream tomorrow. But Mondays mornings is when the Lo-Fi Monk show is on. Lo-Fi Monk has his cloudy thoughts. Lo-Fi, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it'll be on tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. I have to always kind of Cammy does hers at 8 p.m. Eastern, so I'm always split. But I will definitely be most likely trying to do 2 at 1. So thank you, Wilson, again. And for everybody else, thank you as well for coming on. I will be doing my 5 Nights at Freddy's on 8 p.m. on Sunday. Someone told me I'm pretty close. I think ISO Motion Gaming or Suna told me. Suna told me I was actually fairly close to the end of that. So we'll see. I still have no idea why these monsters or animals are like chasing this kid. Like, I have like no idea. It's
You know,
like
I'm
a
pretty
horse.
sure that they all used to be people. I think. I don't know. I once
I
had
have no
both
idea.
Certified Doc and Callie talk me through the whole story, both separately, and I still don't get it. But
I have no idea. And then there's like this movie. There's this scary movie like Five Nights at Freddy's starring Nicolas Cage that I really want to watch. So yeah, I didn't even know that happened. It happened during the pandemic. So who knows? But yeah, I have no idea why these people are chasing the kid. But I will be playing that. Um, and then next week we will have another special guest. Actually, might be the same as old guests. We'll have to see, kind of this last October. And then we will get all into the veterans. So, I'm going to have a big slate of veterans as we lead up to Veterans Day. But with that said, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't have any like special outro right now. It's gonna just end. So
just us, just
it's just
us.
us. Just
Yeah,
gonna end.
is this a special enough outro?
Oh my gosh, doggy! Who's this?
This is Bear. This is Bear. This is my little birdie. Hey, birdie.
Bear.
Come on, look at the camera. There's
Gosh,
someone
I'm
there.
a sucker for, but oh my gosh, thank you, love you, Bear. We'll have to have a Shades of Purple just for Bear. But with that said, y'all, thank you so much. This is Purple Haze. The proof is in the plane. And as always, it doesn't matter where you game, how you game, when you game, how much you game, what you game on. As long as you're gaming, you're good with me. And so thank you all so much. And I will see you on the next one. All right. Later.